Well, hi, I'm Jeff McManus. I'm a high school science teacher at Fairmont. And as part of the innovation grant process, I put together a template for a digital escape room using Google Forms. And I have to be honest, I did not come up with this idea. I found a great escape room already made in some of the references that I use as a physics teacher. And the one that I found, I included in a folder as a model that you could use. And it is honestly so over the top. It has amazing graphics and clever rhymes. And it was made by one person who I don't know, but this person must have had a ton of time to put into this. But I don't want you to be overwhelmed by that. So I did some other, models that you could kind of use as a guide for what you might do. But this is very much something you can just tailor to your own particular subject, the level of student that you have. What I have here, and what I'm going to show you in this video, is kind of how to modify the template so that it works for you. Okay. And again, there's infinite flexibility here. I don't want you to feel constrained by the template. So if you've not been to an escape room before, the idea is a group of people go in and they kind of put their heads together using different clues that they see around the room, and they try to find their way through and find other clues that eventually leads them out the door. So the way this digital one is set up, there are multiple doors, and to open each door, that is to answer the question correctly, you have to usually use some collaboration with your teammates. So there are 4-person and 3-person templates. That way, no matter what class size you have, I guess as long as it's at least like 7 people, you can make it work for you. The whole idea is that this is collaborative, and it can be collaborative in a hybrid format so that you can have people at home and people at school working together, because they can use email, they can use Zoom chats, they can use whatever to be able to communicate back and forth, and that way it's collaborative. If you want to make it competitive also, that's fine. My high school AP Physics students did like the little competitive edge to it, so I kind of made it a race to see who could finish first. And they had to email me the special secret password that they got when they were done, and they kind of liked that, but it doesn't have to be competitive. So this is kind of hard to squeeze on one screen, but that's what I've done here. So I've got 4 different Google Forms, and they all look really similar, except they're named Player 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what you would do with this template is you would just make a copy. It's really important that you make a copy here on the 3 dots, and then you can name it whatever you want to. So I put a little place in here for your topic. So maybe that's history, or maybe it's 5th grade math, or maybe it's a topic within there, like it could be a grammar one, whatever you'd like it to be. And then as you go down, you'll see in each one, you kind of have to work on this together. I would suggest, if you have multiple people, it would be awesome if each person could be responsible for taking one door, and you could all sit around in the same place and talk about it. But if you're one person doing it all yourself, you have to keep it straight. So like for door number 1, the model that I saw, that was a question that could be answered independently. And so I just kind of set mine up that way. But then when you get to door number 2, there's this little box here that says, did you know? And when I first saw this, I was like, well, what's that for? What I didn't realize was I couldn't answer the question that I was posed because I didn't have all the information. And it wasn't until I looked at that little box, I'm like, oh, I have some information there that somebody else is going to need to finish up theirs. Okay, and this is why it has to be collaborative. So for player 1, you could put a fact here that player number 4 is going to need to answer their question that opens their door. Okay, and for player 2, you can put the fact there that player 1 is going to need. All right, so it's like, imagine needing 2 pieces of information, but you only have one, but one of the other players has the other one, and they'll have to communicate it. And that's just as simple as if they're on Zoom saying, hey, I happen to know that, that this piece of information is helpful, and then player 1 will be like, oh yeah, that's the information that I need. Okay, so and the way that it allows them through the door is, if you haven't done this in Google Forms before, we click on this here, and what you would do is, whatever your question is, it has to have an answer. and that answer would go in here, and you just click there to put what the answer is. But then it's either a text or it's a number, most likely. If it was like my math template that I use, I did one for 6th grade math. Most of the answers were numbers, and so you would say, well, that number has to be equal to, and then whatever the correct answer is. Maybe it's 44 would be the correct answer. And then the only way they can get past that question is by putting that number in for the answer. And you can put some text here, something like try again. And that's the message that will pop up if they don't answer it correctly. And if they do, it will allow them to go on to the next screen. Okay? So if you have not used Google Forms before, this might be a lot for you because we're using a lot of the features that are in there. It really helps to preview this when you're done. So when you hit preview, you will see when you start like this and you answer a question. Now, I didn't do one for this, but I think I wrote that the answer needed to say correct answer. And if it doesn't, here, let me show what happens if it doesn't. If you just do that, for example, and then you try to click next, it will say, sorry, try again. So you need to type in that text. Oh, no, that wasn't right either. See how it doesn't let you go on? Okay, so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to see what that was that I need to put it in there. Oh, put correct answer here. Okay, that's what it's looking for. All right, but again, yours isn't going to have that because you will put in whatever correct answer you would want to have. See, as soon as I put that in there, then it takes away that text that says try again, and then allows me to go on to door number 2. Okay? Did you know? And then again, this player 1, would have a fact here that another one of his teammates would need. And I happen to remember that I put in 44 as the correct answer that I was looking for, so I put in 43 and try to click next. It says no, try again. But if I put in 44, it allows me to go on to the next page. Now the teammates are going to have to go kind of in sync with each other because they're each going to have information that the other people are going to need for that door. So you can't have one person blazing ahead. It's just not going to work that way. So if I go back, here again is the template. And I'm going to go back and change this to the template form. There's different ways. The one that I saw for high school physics, there were pictures, there were little GIFs that were used. There was no videos in there. That would be a lot. And a lot of them were just text-based. Some of them were sequential. And so I saw when I started one, it said first do this, next do this. And I was like, well, what is that? Well, each person has to do the thing in the right order. So if you look at my 6th grade math one, I had them draw a triangle, but each person had the direction for drawing just one of the 3 lines. And then the 4th person had to figure out what the area of that triangle was. Of course, that could also be collaborative. It's not up to that one person to answer the question alone. They can kind of think it through and say, okay, team, how would we find the answer to this particular question? Okay. So if you look at some of the models that I made, kind of exemplar ones, I think it really helps you to kind of see the different ways that these questions can be posed so that it requires that collaboration. And then when they get to the end and all 4 people have been able to click submit, then they will get kind of a magic word that you get to put in there or a magic fact or something like that. That part is actually done up here in the gear. Under settings, if you go to the presentation settings, there's a confirmation message, and you would type in there, for example, like, oh, the magic number is 4321, and then each student would be able to send the teacher a message, or if they're there in the classroom, say, I know what the secret password is, but I just have my students email me when they're done. I say, email me what the magic password is, and when I get all 4 of you to send me that, then I'll know you got done okay. And of course, I can also go into the Google form and look at the responses, and it tells me what the answers were, so I know they're not just making it up and got the code from somebody else. Okay, so so that's kind of how the template works. And again, it is a lot. So you might look at my examples and see like how I set mine up, and then that'll help you. And probably also helps to try it yourself. So maybe the 6th grade math one, I don't know. It depends on what you teach as to how good that 6th grade math one might work for you. The high school science ones, I'm not sure that's going to be a whole lot better. It just depends on who you are that's watching this. But I really think for a lot of students at different levels, you can just make these to fit whatever level they're at. And they are a lot of fun, kind of engaging. A lot of people have done this like live in the classroom where they put things around the room, and this is just a digital version that works nicely for either a fully remote or a hybrid method where everybody can kind of work together. So hope you get something out of it, and let me know. I'll put a link to my email in there if you want to have a little bit more information. If this is confusing, by all means, just get a hold of me and we'll get you set up. Thanks for watching.